You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that. And welcome into the latest episode of the Show Before the Show podcast, the official podcast of minor league baseball, recording on a Wednesday this week. We're all out of sorts. Sam's got a MLB Network polo on, which makes me think like, oh, he's going on TV again today. Ben's doing incredible work as always, stuff that we're going to talk about. Sam, what do you do? You're going to be a superstar.
I feel like every time we start the show now, you just have to make a comment about my hair.
I just have to know what the parameters of your day are.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I see you're wearing that thing. Sam's wearing clothes.
Sam got a haircut. Look at him.
It
was just because the one day when you had a nice,
that's all.
That one day when you had a nice shirt on and it was part of a suit, I was like, well, I don't even know this guy anymore. So now I'm just like hyper focused on it.
It's changed the equilibrium completely. And it's just like, well, you're very purposeful about why you wear certain things and not, oh, your laundry is at the cleaners. And
yeah, I mean, that's always a thing too.
Yeah, you grabbed what was on the hanger this morning. No, I mean, I'm always proud to represent MLB Network and the good folks over there. But nothing today. We are gearing up for spring training, and I'll be in 10 camps in 10 days. So I guess maybe that was just on my mind when I was choosing it.
It's exciting stuff. Well, hey, with that, we welcome you into the latest episode of the Show Before the Show podcast, the official podcast of minor league baseball. Tyler Mon, Sam Dykstra, Benjamin Hill. Dudes, what's going on around the office? It is a week out-ish from pitchers and catchers reporting. Is the excitement level brewing in the way that you were hoping on an annual basis?
The excitement level is brewing. It's slowly amping up. We don't just have one. Yeah, we never have one cathartic moment. We just slowly build and build and build, and then it's go time, and we roll, and we don't stop, and we do our jobs to the utmost capability, and we have very, very strong capabilities around here.
Yeah. That's what we're all ready for.
Yeah. But it is a busy time. I mean, I still have that issue with the offseason when it starts. I'm like, what do I even do, even though I know what I do? And then around this time of year when it's like, oh, the promo schedules are coming in, there's standalone articles to write about new promotions. We're updating every single minor league ballpark guide, in advance of 2025. There's new ballparks to write about. We've got this podcast, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden you're just kind of jumping from one thing to another, and it's still February. And then in a way, the offseason, or when the season starts, it's not slow, but in a way it just kind of just happens, and it doesn't feel very overwhelming after that initial, like, oh boy, here we go again kind of feeling.
Yeah, it's it sneaks up on you so fast, which is especially when we start doing podcasts on a Wednesday and I'm all out of sorts. Basically, it's just my way of saying, like, I don't know what to do today to try to make this an entertaining show so I'm leaning on both of you guys. I just want you to know.
We didn't know that Wednesdays are such a liability for this podcast.
Wild. Just thrown all out of sorts. No, it's not true. But I am very excited to dive into our interview this week, which is coming up here in a little bit. We'll talk with Mike Abramson from the Hartford Yard GOATs, who is one of the best people in all of minor league baseball. And we got some other fun business of baseball stuff to discuss. And before we get into it all, thanks for joining us. Wherever you found us, you can, of course, leave us a rating and a review and subscribe to the podcast. 5 stars only, please. And you can get in touch with us, podcast at milb.com. And so let's dive in. We have a discussion of a fun alternate identity ahead. And we have some more alternate identities that we can discuss, but we also have the final redesign of a primary identity for a team in minor league baseball this offseason. We got a bunch of rebrands, some teams moving around, new names, new identities, but the Corpus Christi Hooks have just gone with a new look for 2025 and beyond. They are still the Hooks. They are still in Corpus Christi, but a new look, Ben. They've gone a little bit more of a I don't know if I would say muted, maybe like big league kind of feel. They've gone away from the character logo. It's a little bit more of a classic look for Corpus Christi.
Yeah, it's less cartoonish. The previous Corpus Christi logo, relied heavily on a cartoon hook. The hook being a fishing hook. It's a city by the bay there in Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi Bay is one of the bays. So, it speaks to the water. But yeah, it was like kind of more fun, goofy, minor league alternate identity. And this one is, as Tyler said, I mean, they're still a minor league team, but it's a little more major league. The Hooks were established in 2005, and they did not change their logos in a significant way all the way until entering this 2025 season. It's their 20th anniversary season. And, one good thing about COVID canceling the entirety of the 2020 season is that there's no more disconnect between are you celebrating your 20th season or your 20th year or whatever. The erasure of one season in 2020 makes seasons and years now line up for every team that was established before 2020. So it's their 20th year and their 20th season. Does this matter for someone who pays attention to these things?
Yeah, that is interesting. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, so the Hooks are entering their 20th anniversary season, no matter what way you look at it. And I think they just wanted to use that milestone to be like, whoa, what happened? Where's the time go? It's been 20 years. Time to change things up. So it is a more serious identity. The primary logo, the word mark, is above some structures. And I thought at first it was a bridge because I know there's bridges around Corpus Christi. You can see the Harbor Bridge from the ballpark, and there's actually a new huge cable-stayed bridge opening that'll be right near the ballpark as well. But I'm probably mispronouncing it, but there on the word mark in the or right below the word mark in the primary logo, it's a mirador, Miradore, and it's a Spanish word for a gazebo-like structure. And the Corpus Christi Bayfront has 8 of them along the water, and each of them stand for a particular aspect of like Corpus Christi region, commerce, and industry. So the Mirador they're featured in the primary logo, and then there's also 8 stars above the word mark, and those also tie into the 8 Miradors and how each one signifies something related to Corpus Christi. I think the Texas State logo is pretty cool with a hook going across the state and then being bent and pointing to where Corpus Christi is on the map. I thought that was a creative touch.
I like that logo a lot.
Yeah, there's also an alternate logo based on an early iteration of the Texas state flag, one from the 19th century, but where hooks, is written in the little gaps between the points of a star. Again, with history there, some, Texas referencing, but it just looks really cool. And I believe that hat with the star on it will be paired with the Sparkling City jerseys, and that's to reference Corpus Christi's Sparkling City by the Bay nickname. So, per usual, I talk about this a lot. Sometimes I do another new logo story, and I feel like, here you go again, right in the 400th new logo story. But then I like learning, and I'm like, I didn't know that about Corpus Christi or what miradors were or the evolution of the Texas state flag or, so on and so forth. So I continue to enjoy learning through writing about minor league baseball. Corpus Christi Hooks, 20 years from the Hooks. They started in 2005. After what team relocated to Corpus Christi from where? Any guesses?
Ooh,
It's kind of a trick question.
that is a good question because the only Texas League team that I can think of relocating is the Wichita Wranglers, but they became the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, I believe.
They did.
For some reason, Shreveport is coming to mind, but I don't think it's Corpus.
That's a good guess, too, because that's a Texas League team of like into the early 21st century, and I can't remember exactly their path. But the reason I said this is a trick question, because the answer is the Round Rock Express.
I was going to say the Round Rock,
right?
Yeah. I should have.
They started as a AA team in 2000, and then, the Express became a AAA team in 2005. So when you look at the Round Rock Express, their history goes back to 2000, but technically the AA team relocated to Corpus Christi after 2004, and then a different Pacific Coast League team, and I'm forgetting which one, probably one of those Canadian ones because they all left Canada.
Yeah.
Came down to Texas in 2005. But yeah, 20 years of Corpus Christi Hooks baseball.
Now, one question that I have about this logo suite for Corpus Christi is I believe that one of the Texas shape logos was a faux back logo, or something similar was a faux back logo for Corpus Christi in recent seasons, right?
Yeah, and then talking to Brady Ballard, the team's general manager, he said a lot of these new logos and the team's new look evolved from a 2016 faux back that the team had been utilizing, and was really popular, did really well in merchandise sales. Players liked wearing it, and so I think with the popularity of that, kind of helped set the vision for like when we change fully, we're going to use elements of this faux back for our new identity. And a cool thing about it too is the logos were done in house by the team's. I believe her title is creative services manager, but Courtney Gatlin with the hooks, started in community relations, and and talking to Brady Ballard, he said, a lot of it is self-taught. She not all self-taught, but just something she took upon herself to do, largely self-motivated, and is now designing really sharp logos for the teams in-house. I mean, you do see in-house teamwork, throughout the industry, but often it's more in one-off type things. It's pretty rare that an entire overhaul of a franchise's look will be done in-house by someone already with the front office. So pretty cool asset for the Hooks to have that on staff.
I just want to go back to something you were talking about in terms of Round Rock moving to Corpus, but Round Rock still existing in Round Rock, but being as a AAA team. It makes me think of like the NBA, right? With like the New Orleans Pelicans technically used to be the Charlotte Hornets, but now the team that actually is the Charlotte Hornets has taken on the franchise records of the old Charlotte Hornets. So like that's just like a
Like
one-off.
the opposite of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who own the Seattle Supersonics records. So if the Sonics ever come back, they won't own the records made by players in Seattle. They'll have like their own
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about. Like, what if somebody for Round Rock hit 6 homers in 2004? Is that an Express record or is that a Hooks record? And should we try to like have one policy for this across the board? Because with all these other moves that we're going to be talking about in 2025 and that we've already talked about, there's just so many strings that are attached to all over the place. It
Yeah,
can make you go crazy.
that
Yeah,
is true.
especially in minor league baseball, it gets
Yeah,
confusing.
Right. It's tenfold in minor league
Yeah,
baseball.
I'm
yeah.
sure there's other examples of that within minor league baseball, but one other one that comes to my mind right off the top of my head where, from a fan and probably front office perspective, not much changed, but the team technically relocated while another one came in is, Carolina Mudcats were a double A Southern League team, but that double A team went to Pensacola and became the Blue Wahoos. And then it was I believe it was the Kinston Indians who
Yep.
then went to
Yeah.
Zebulon, North Carolina, to assume the Mudcats mantle. So there was a change in level. I mean, there was no interruption in the team's operations, but technically it was like a new team was there. It gets really confusing, let
Yeah.
alone if we got into all like the California League maneuvers this
Oh,
year.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
not even get
Right.
into it right now.
Well, I
But
always
it
think
gets
about it from the
really-
standpoint, the first minor league team that I worked for, the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, used to be the Durham Bulls, and they moved for a season to Danville, Virginia, where they were known as
Yeah.
the Danville 97s. But that's all the same. Like when you think of Bull Durham and you think of the team that played there, that team, in a way, is the Myrtle Beach Pelicans now, because that was the old Carolina League franchise. So the Durham Bulls that currently exist are not the same Durham Bulls as it is very strange. It is very. I thought where you were going, Sam, was the opening of basketball, where they talk about teams moving around and says, the Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles where there are no lakes, and the New Orleans Jazz moved to Salt Lake City where they don't allow music. That's what I
Oh
thought.
no! I mean that's another thing we could do at some point. But at least minor league baseball does a good job of localizing things for the most part.
True.
After a move, I mean that's you even more so have to play to the local fans. So maybe that would be my argument. This is a tangent now that has gone on longer than I wanted it to. But like my argument would be the records are for the fans. It's not
Yeah.
for the team.
Yeah.
So it should be wherever the place was.
I get that.
There could be some like New Britain and Hartford. That's the same area. Worcester and Pawtucket, something like that. They could carry over because it's generally the same region. But for the most part, it should be what did you fans see
Yeah.
at one point for this organization?
Yeah,
I
it is
get
a
that.
fascinating tangent because there's so many little things. And
Yeah.
how about the Denver Zephyrs going to New Orleans and keeping the Zephyrs name? You don't see that kind of stuff happen much anymore.
No.
Top
Um,
left up there.
Yeah, there you go. Tyler, of course, can point to the Denver Zephyrs hat. But
I
was
thought
it?
you were pointing to the stadium. It's just like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
back
yeah,
there.
back
I do
there.
have I do
Behind
have
him.
seats from it behind me. Right. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go. Those would have seen Zephyrs games at one time. But anyway, that is really interesting stuff. That since we're coming out of the off season, you might need to like bookmark that for a later off season conversation and get people's thoughts and feedback. If you have thoughts on this subject, get in touch with us, podcast at milb.com. But Ben, that wraps up the redesigns for teams this season who have either rebranded or redesigned their primary identities. Not talking alternate identities, but we will talk alternate identities coming up with Mike Abramson, but also another couple that have been announced into the minor league baseball world. Amarillo, I already can't. What's going on? Yellow City? What? I didn't know that. First of all, as a logo or as a locator name, and then Pigweeds. What's happening there?
Yeah, this came out today, and I'm honestly not too well versed on it, but Amarillo is Spanish for yellow.
Yellow,
So
right?
Yellow City
Right.
is a a not surprising nickname, and pigweeds are a very common form of vegetation around Amarillo, the Texas Panhandle. A lot of vast open lands, heavy winds. I think Sam, we were talking, and you said that pigweeds are sort of the kind of plant that eventually
Becomes a tumbleweed.
becomes
Yeah.
a tumbleweed.
We don't think of like a tumbleweed being a thing that actually did grow in the ground at some point, but it has to. And then it gets dried out and tumbles along the desert floor or across the landscape. And yeah, so at one point they are pigweeds.
Yeah, just
And
like a zombie was once a human. A
that's what tumbleweeds are. They're just
Basically,
zombie
they're
plants.
zombie
that have-
plants.
yeah.
Slow moving, just trying to find whatever they can find to attach themselves to. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. So we got the Yellow City pigweeds. A pig does factor prominently in that logo, as does the color yellow, as does some yellow vegetation. So that's a new one. The Sod Poodles are adding that to their much lauded calf fries identity. So I believe that's the second outside of Copa full scale, new alternate identity. So they just released that. And speaking of the color yellow, that comes in prominently in Hudson Valley, who just released retrievers, as in golden retrievers. So now that's another one. And it's funny, I feel like every alternate identity, almost all of them have been from the Eastern League. Amarillo is at least in Double A. Finally, we're moving away from Double A, talking about a team doing something. But I mean, who doesn't love a golden retriever? So I think the Renegades knew they were on pretty solid ground with that one. They do have a ballpark dog, Bella, who's a golden retriever. They're going to play as the retrievers on a Bark in the Park, Sunday day game promotion. It occurred to me that those should be called Dog Day afternoons. Maybe some teams do that. I mean, I've probably seen it and forgotten and then thought it was my own idea,
Can
as
we get
often
Al
happens.
Pacino to the ballpark for Dog Day afternoon?
Man, to get Al Pacino to do a public appearance in his 80s, if he chose of all the things that he could possibly do to go to Wappingers Falls and watch
Why not?
watch
But
minor
aim
league.
high.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just saying.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think he should definitely do it. Al Pacino, I don't think he listens, but I know his agent listens and I know his wife listens. So can you pass it on to Al?
I'm currently reading his memoir, as weird as that is. And he talks about how much he loved playing baseball growing up. And he's like, I kind of thought I had a future. But then one time, some guys who I played on my team with, they went for a tryout with the Yankees and they were wildly better than me. And they basically got like laughed out of the tryout. And that's when I figured out that I wasn't going to be a professional baseball player. I feel like we all had that moment at one time. It's kind of nice to know that Al Pacino had it too.
Yeah, but then most of us don't go on to, even
Yeah.
more success in another field.
In another field, another
Yeah.
completely unrelated field. Pretty amazing.
Yeah. But just to wrap everything up with this discussion, Tyler, as you mentioned, Corpus Christi was the final team to unveil a new primary logo that wrapped up officially rebranding season in terms of changes, new team identities or changes to the primary logo. So just a quick review of what we're looking at new in the minor league landscape in terms of primary identities, new identities in 2025. There will be a quiz on this, or there won't actually be a quiz, but take some notes and then tell all your friends, and they'll be impressed by how much you know about minor league baseball. We have the Hub City Spartanburgers, a new team, new identity. Playing in 2025 at Fifth Third ballpark, a new fifth third ballpark on the minor league landscape. It's been a while. We have another new team, Columbus, Georgia, the Clingstones, named after a type of peach. The clingstone clings to the pit. The Clingstones, moved from Pearl, Mississippi, where they were known as the Mississippi Braves. So that's the new Double-A Braves affiliate there in Columbus, the Clingstones. The Tennessee Smokies are moving not very far away at all, but from Kodak, Tennessee, back into Knoxville proper, and so they are now the Knoxville Smokies yet again, changing from Tennessee Smokies. Salt Lake Bees moving into a new ballpark, so they changed their logos, tweaked things, added some things, some real cool alternates there. They have a new look. Oklahoma City, after 1 year as baseball club, following about a decade as the Dodgers. They remain a Dodgers affiliate, but they are now henceforth the Comets. And the Bowie Bay Sox changed their place name and added new logos. They're now the Chesapeake Bay Sox. And then we have, of course, the Corpus Christi Hooks with a new look going into their 20th season. So that's a brief review of the primary changes. Of course, we're seeing anniversary logos and minor tweaks across the board, and maybe a new road jersey here, a batting practice cap here, and of course, alternate identities. But in terms of all-in, day-to-day, significant changes to a primary logo and or new identities, it is those 7 teams: Spartanburg, Columbus, Knoxville, Salt Lake, Oklahoma City, Chesapeake, and Corpus Christi. There you have it.
And as Ben noted, alternate identities flying fast and furiously, quickly and furiously, whatever it is. And Hartford, not to be outdone by some compadres in the Eastern League. Hartford coming up, Ben. Give us a preview of what we're going to hear with our buddy Mike Abramson.
Yeah, we talked to Eddie Saunders with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies about their Bathtub Donkeys alternate identity a couple weeks ago. They were inspired directly in commemorating a weird law by Hartford Yard Goats, who did the Bouncing Pickles. But the Yard Goats have much more where that came from on the alternate identity front, and we're going to talk about their new alternate identities in Hartford, some old ones, some philosophical questions. We're going to talk with Mike Abramson, the general manager of the Hartford Yard Goats, about alternate identities and more.
Gold Bond knows that when your skin feels good, you feel good. So look after it day and night and make Gold Bond Healing Lotion your go-to. It's clinically shown to visibly heal and moisturize dry skin in just 1 use. We all deserve soft, healthy-looking skin every day, so choose a trusted brand with proven results. Gold Bond Healing Lotion. Buy yours now at walmart.com.
The Hartford Yard Goats have not 1, but 2 new alternate identities this season, ready for 2025. The Thunder Chickens, and just announced the Leaf Peepers. And we wanted to talk about these alternate identities. I know Sam has some thoughts on Thunder Chickens. We'll get to that. And we want to talk about these new alternate identities, but just alternate identities in general, with a man who knows something about them, Mike Abramson, the general manager of the Hartford Yard Goats. Mike, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's always great to see you guys.
Yeah, and where to begin? There's a lot to talk about, but hot off the presses, so to speak, unveiled on Thursday evening, the Leaf Peepers. And this one jumped out at me right away. Looking at the logo, it's like a leaf peeper is usually someone who peeps at leaves, but this leaf is doing the peeping himself. The tables are turned. It is an eye-catching look, to say the least, an interesting identity. So let's start with that. If you could give us a little more background on the Leaf Peepers.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, when we're working on alternate identities, we crowdsource it. We have a couple of brainstorming sessions each year where we get our full staff together. We, pry them with, drinks and food, and everybody starts to throw ideas around. And a couple of years back, these were the 2 that survived that process. So Thunder Chickens, we unveiled last week, and that went over pretty well. And the Leaf Peepers just last night. You'd be surprised to know that 10 million people every year come to New England just to look at the leaves change color. It's a big deal. And that was one of the names that came up, and we thought we'd try and capitalize on it. And so the logo is a leaf peeping. But we got there in a roundabout way. I mean, we started with several iterations of like a person with binoculars huddled in bushes and peeping out, and it just never seemed catchy enough, or it didn't quite seem like simple enough but fun enough to fit on the front of a hat. And yeah, this is where we ended up. So yeah, the leaf is the one doing the peeping.
The leaf is the one doing the peeping. I wish that was the tagline for the for the alternate identity.
Maybe it will be.
And preceding that, just about a week prior, was the Thunder Chickens, and we talked about this on the show a little bit last week, just in the wake of its announcement. Sam is from New England, and he said, "I'm not familiar with this Thunder Chicken slang for a turkey." So we give some background on that one as well, and then maybe just how prevalent does a slang term have to be in order for it to be utilized as an alternate identity?
I mean, I think the less prevalent, the better. If it's something that nobody's ever heard of, that I think is helpful. There are obviously, there's obviously alternates to that. I think the Jersey Diners is a great example. I mean, a Jersey Diner is just such a simple, commonplace saying. It's not the kind of thing that would ever occur to you. But I like when it's a saying that most people haven't heard of. A couple of years back, we released the bouncing pickles. I don't think anybody was walking around saying bouncing pickle. But there's a couple of things that go into it. And when you're around it for a long time, when you hear the name, you just know. I think a lot of it is the consonant vowel combinations. It's got to be something that really punches, which was the thing that we loved about the Yard Goats so many years back. And also just the fact that it's funny, that it's interesting, that you can tell a story with it. But also, I think it really works if it has a local tie, or if you can at least create a story to tie it locally. And with both of these identities, it does work for us because we are in New England. People do come here. They watch the leaves change color. And there are a lot of turkeys around here. And I also did not know that Thunder Chickens was a slang for a turkey, but it is because, I search it on the social medias all the time just to see if anybody is subtweeting us or posting without tagging. And there's a lot of people out there who are like, hey, I went out and hunted some Thunder Chickens this morning. So it is a thing.
Yeah, I'll have to take that to both my mom and my aunt, who both grew up in Manchester, Connecticut, not too far from where you are right now. Who my mom reached out to me on behalf of her sister, to be like, we've never heard that, which they're not hunting folks, so maybe it's a hunting thing more than anything. But again, like I agree with what you're saying. I also don't get texts from my mother very often about alternate identities, and Thunder Chicken is one that seems to hit, especially with a little bit of local ties. Just going back to Leaf Peepers, you're right. I mean, it is such a popular event in New England. It is something that draws a lot of people to New England. It is a fall thing, baseball being a summer sport, unless you are lucky enough to work your way towards the World Series or deep into the Eastern League playoffs, per se. How are you guys kind of timing out the use of that promotion?
Yeah, we're gonna roll it out, obviously, with all of our promotions as we have been, and we're gonna do some heavy promotion of it over the next month. But we're actually going to play that game September 4th, so we're gonna hold back some of the marking and a lot of the activation and the actual game for later in the year toward the fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you guys have discussed, not only just announcing the name, but incorporating it into the ballpark. Is there anything you guys are going to be doing to bring the leaf peeping experience to downtown Hartford?
I don't know that we've thought that far ahead yet, but one of the things we'll probably do is when all of the leaves start to change color, we'll try and find a way to take credit for it.
I think that sounds like a really good plan, actually. Mike, you guys are obviously one of the most creative front offices, one of the most creative organizations in minor league baseball. And the thing that I've always loved most about the Yard Goats and Yard Goats culture is that there is nothing that ever seems that it's out of bounds. Like you guys seem to be able to go into a room, have fun conversations about, hey, what's the next thing that we can do to get people talking and to, spur conversation about this team. What are those meetings like? I mean, when you're, bribing, as you said, your front office staff to come in with food and drinks and all that, it feels like it must be such a free flowing creative exchange of ideas. What is that experience like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it is just like that. I mean, one, it's a great team building exercise because everybody feels heard. We always start off those conversations by saying there are no bad ideas, and there are, in fact, a lot of bad ideas.
Yeah.
Um, as the afternoon goes on, we start to call out the bad ideas a little more quickly and passionately. But yeah, it's fun. It's a great team building exercise. And the people you least expect are the ones who come out with the names. So we had a young woman working for us in our sales department who's now working for you folks in your sales department. And she's the one who just threw that out there. Never would have expected it. She was on the quiet side. And that was Thunder Chickens. And Leaf Peepers came from a guy who had been in our front office for years. He left last year, but he came up with that one. I mean, you never know where it's going to come from. But again, you know it when you hear it. And there are some that are out of bounds. I mean, I have an alternate identity that
Let's hear it. We got to hear it,
Yeah.
Mike.
I don't think I
Can't
can
tease it.
because it was nixed. It was nixed at the highest levels. And I was so excited about it, but it was edgy. It would have sold a lot of hats and it would have brought in a lot of Facebook comments. But there are some that are out of bounds. But when you've been in the business for a long time, you have a pretty good idea. I mean, I get a lot of satisfaction out of the negative rhetoric because that's when it's really going places. But you also know, I mean, we've had a couple of instances over the years where you do know that you stepped a little too far and you recognize it pretty quickly. So I think we're adept at towing that line now without going over it and putting ourselves in a vulnerable spot. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the fact that minor league baseball, Major League Baseball allow us these alternate identities. I mean, everybody loves to come on to the socials and say it's a cash grab, and it is. I mean, we are a for-profit business, but it's also fun. I mean, when you work in the same sport every year and it's cyclical, you have to amuse yourself somehow. And alternate identities are a great way to do that, and it gives you something to feel proud of and to work at and figure out how to market differently.
Are there some that you can tell us about that have been, left to the cutting room floor or have been, because sometimes you'll come up with an identity, and I would imagine, and Leaf Peepers obviously could have been one of these, but you come up with the concept for an identity, and then it's like, well, how do we render this graphically? Like, how do we come up with the logo? Maybe this is going to be too much of a challenge. Is there anything that stands out that you're like, well, we thought about this and it didn't necessarily fit the mold of how you can build an alternate identity or anything along those lines?
We've never really run into that, again, with the caveat of this one particular one that I was really into. We for our alternate identities for several years were just the alternate names to the yard goats that we did not choose. And then we moved into the food identities like the steamed cheeseburger. So we've never gone down the road with one and just sort of threw our hands up and walked away from it at some point. I mean, by the time we get there, we're pretty sure it's going to work out. There is a woman we work with. She was in our front office back in 2017-18. She is an incredible designer. She designs all of our logos. So if we come up with the name, we're completely confident that she's going to work with us to match the vision on the logo side. So yeah, I mean, we've never been there before. Again, this other one, I'm not going to keep going on about it, but it was a name that really could have caused a stir. So we worked pretty hard at creating a benign logo to accompany the aggressive name. And that was a fun process. But, again, I can't even tell you that one because I'm hoping someday I'm going to get to use it. I can't give it away to some other team with less constraints.
Alternate identities. We use that term so much. It's a little clunky to say. We've had discussions editorially of, is there a different term we can use? Because it doesn't necessarily say to the average fan exactly what this is. Sometimes when I'm speaking about my job to friends or family, they're just like, wait, what are you talking about? To me, it's so ingrained. So jumping off of that, do you use that phrase alternate identity all the time? Is there a better phrase? And then how do you go about marketing this? Because even though many of your fans have been to a lot of games at this point, there's a lot of fans you're always trying to reach for the first time. The messaging can be a little trickier than I think people give it credit for. And, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, that's a great point. In fact, we had a conversation about that ourselves. I don't think that there is another way to say it that makes as much sense. And I do think for our fans and fans of minor league baseball, the term has become commonplace enough that they now know what to expect when they hear it and when they see it. But I talk about that all the time. There's a lot of phrases we use, and one that comes to mind is homestand. That doesn't mean anything to anybody anywhere unless you work in baseball. Um, but you just get used to saying these things that are so common. You start to use them in, social media and your marketing. You're like, wait a second, nobody knows what that means. But yeah, I don't know that there's another way to say that. It's funny though, because the Thunder Chickens did really well when we put it out last week on social media. A lot of comments. Everybody wanted us to know that it was a turkey in the picture, and I'm like, do these people think we're just in the office being like, oh that is a turkey. Like, we made a big mistake here, and now we have like 10,000 hats with a turkey
Who
on them.
knew this? How did we miss this?
Right. How did we miss it? But yeah, and then a lot of people are like, why does this team change their name every year? But the fans jump in and they explain it. You don't even have to do that work. If somebody is like, why'd they change the name? 10 people are there to tell them it's a one-time thing, and they do it every year, and they post the previous examples.
Yeah, and it's so ingrained in our minds and such a common concept. But then another thing to keep in mind is that it's still relatively new in the baseball promotional landscape. I mean, if you're looking about how long minor league baseball has been around, I mean, Mike, your career goes back a long ways, a lot of years with the New Britain Rockcats before they moved to Hartford. I mean, what has it been like on the inside of the industry, seeing promotional trends evolve, and particularly going from something essentially no one did and in a lot of ways wasn't really on the table to something that is now forms the bedrock of a lot of teams' promotional schedules.
Well, yeah, again, I mean, I think it's really refreshing, and I'm surprised that other sports and other industries haven't really picked up on this trend just yet, because it's refreshing for the people who work in your office. It's refreshing for the fans. It can bring in new fans. I mean, when we announced the Bouncing Pickles a couple of years ago, when tickets went on sale, that was like one of the first games that sold out. And I guess it's just because people wanted to come to a game where a team was called the Bouncing Pickles, because it's not like anything else was happening. We were just wearing these uniforms, and that was the name of the team. But I think it's a lot of fun, and I think that there's no harm in it. And honestly, from a national retail perspective, it's become a really commonplace practice, particularly in the food and beverage industry. I mean, you look at the popular sodas, the popular candy, snack foods, they are rolling out all of these seasonal alternate
That's a
identities
really good
all
point.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's great. I mean, if somebody loves Skittles, they love the fact that once a year they come out with, I don't know, turkey flavored Skittles, whatever. There's definitely
Thunder
not
chicken.
Thunder chicken.
Thunder
Thunder
chicken flavored.
Wait, that's a turkey. But yeah, so I mean, it's completely on trend with what's happening in a more youthful marketing way. I mean, that stuff's not being positioned out to people my age; it's being positioned out to people in their 20s. But that's also like, we need a youth movement in baseball. I remember years ago at the minor league promo seminar, being on a panel and saying, I really felt that minor league baseball should embrace the wackiness of minor league baseball, because there's so much freedom in it. Major League Baseball has a lot of stakeholders. It's an institution. They have a lot to protect. But there's almost like this freedom in allowing the minor leagues to be zany and to be wacky and go off script a little bit. And though that's been tightened up a little bit over the past several years, that freedom is still there. And I really respect the folks at Major League Baseball for continuing to allow that to happen.
And just to pivot off what you were saying in terms of like fast food restaurants marketing with seasonal things, we just saw that this week, right? With Grimace, his uncle is, what was it? They just announced the Shamrock Shake version of Grimace, who's coming back. Oh, Grimacy, that's what it. Oh, Grimacy,
Uncle O'Grimacy, yeah,
Uncle
right.
O'Grimacy, who's coming back. Yeah, so it's very much in vogue across multiple industries. But just sticking to minor league baseball, we had somebody from Binghamton on the show a few weeks ago to talk about the bathtub donkeys, and they mentioned you guys specifically and the bouncing pickles, being like, "Hey, the Yard Goats set an example here for weird laws that we can all kind of copy. I mean, how much are you guys thinking about setting an industry standard when you guys are coming up with these names?
Not much at all. I mean, I mean, first off, I am always amazed at the amount of creativity in minor league baseball. It's got to be like the most creative 3,600, 3,500 people that work in any industry. All of these teams are out there coming up with amazing things, amazing promotions, between innings promotions, themes, giveaways every single year. It's appreciated within the industry. I don't even really know if people outside look at how much creativity is happening every single day with all of these teams. Binghamton is a great example. I mean, I think Binghamton does a really good job of coming up with neat promotions, neat themes. I still look back at their Netflix and chill night, which I just thought was absolutely friggin' brilliant. They got lambasted for it and it got pulled, but I just thought it was absolutely brilliant to play a movie on a cold night called Netflix and chill night. But yeah, I mean, it's something that's happening everywhere, and we are competitive, but I really think we're just competitive unto ourselves. I really never think about what other teams are doing and how we can one up it, because minor league baseball fandom for the most part is hyper local. You know, if we do something here that's been done somewhere else, people really don't know about it and they don't care about it. They only care about what it means here. And it is really fun when people jump on a promotion or marketing thing you do and they're like, these guys are geniuses. Nobody ever thought of this before. That is satisfying and it's fun. But at the end of the day, you want mass acceptance. You know, you want people's mothers texting them about a theme night or a giveaway. So we don't think about the other teams are one-upping too much, but you know, when you have one that is really popular, like the Bouncing Pickles, I mean, of course, it's very satisfying.
Well, no Bouncing Pickles versus Bathtub Donkeys on the schedule this year, I believe, but you can still get out to Duncan Park to see the Yard Goats, to see the Leaf Peepers, to see the Thunder Chickens, to see who knows what else. So I recommend to anyone listening who has the opportunity and you haven't seen a game there, get out there and do it. It's a great time. And in the meantime, we got a couple more months of off season left, or not even a couple more, but whatever. We got a little bit of time. It's a busy time. Mike will let you get back to it, plotting, scheming, planning, whatever you got to do. But really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and hope to see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you another thrilling edition of Ghosts of the Miners. Now, here's your correspondent and host, Joshua Jackson.
Welcome back to Ghost of the Miners, in which all of you out there in Radioland must identify the legitimate historical ball club or player hiding amidst the fraudulent pair. One once played pro ball for years and years. The others never did for even a minute. In the last segment, I asked you which of the following minor league baseball players did at one time exist. A. Marvin Barf. B. Leo Pucas. C. Ted Vomity. You've spit out the right name if you picked B, Leo Pucas, who pitched in the minors for 8 seasons scattered across 12 years.
Puke! That's a funny word, puke. Puke.
Pucas hurled the baseball in no fewer than 7 different minor leagues. But of all the times Pucas hurled the best for the Ogdensburg Colts of the Canadian American League of the late 1930s.
Oh God, why didn't anybody tell me?
Standing at 6'6", Pucas was a sickening sight to hitters in those days, especially on the day of August 21st, 1937. Pitching against the Ottawa Braves at Ogdensburg, New York's Winter Park that Saturday, Pucas spewed forth the first no-hitter in Canadian American League history, striking out 13 and walking a mere 3 along the way. The outfielders had a holiday, the Ogdensburg Advance News reported. They could have stayed on the bench and saved the shoe leather the way Leo was throwing the apple. Just a couple starts later, on September 6th, Pukas was dealing in the 8th inning of an eventual Colts win when he was spiked hard while covering first base. It ended his season, but 23 months to the day after that disgusting injury, Pukas chucked up another history-making start for the Colts. Facing the Cornwall Bisons on August 6, 1939 in Ontario, he tied the Can-Am strikeout record with 16 whiffs in a single start. At the end of that season, Pukas' contract was purchased by the Pittsburgh Pirates, who sent the projectable hurler to the minors again in 1940. And although he led the Can-Am League with 165 strikeouts that year, around the minors he stayed until the end of the 1942 season, when he went, as the Sporting News reported, into Uncle Sam's employ. He stayed on the service list until long after the war. Although he pitched for teams based in Lafayette, Louisiana, Little Rock, Arkansas, Anniston, Alabama, Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and the New York cities of Utica, Auburn, and Buffalo, it was with Ogdensburg Pukas started, and with Ogdensburg Pukas finished. In 1947, the upstate town's team was the Maples of the Border League. Pukas, a veteran in a couple senses, pitched 27 games for them at the age of 32, then called it a career. And that's how Leo Pukas filled his bucket list.
Where's the bathroom?
Now, on to the question for next time. Which of these teams was comfortable down on the farm in the minors of yesteryear? A, the Billerica Dairy Boys. B, the Sadieville Piglets. C, the Morristown Roosters. Want to know the answer? E-I-E-I-O. Or, tune in for the next Goes to the Minors. But for now, you'll have to excuse me. My producer Ben Hill is trying to get some sleep, and I've got to practice the trumpet.
Big thanks to Mike Abramson from the Hartford Yard Goats and to Josh Jackson of Ghosts of the Miners fame for swinging by. And that will bring us to the final segment of this week's episode of the Show Before the Show, which is Name That Dude. And this week, the dude knower is Sam, which makes Ben and I the dude guessers. But Sam seems a little unsure of this dude. Seems as though it will be a difficult guessing process.
No, I don't think it will. It's just I was unsure if this was a dude we'd done before.
Mike Trout.
Not Mike Trout. Although that would be, we should do
Very
Mike Trout at
obvious.
some point. Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani. This player came from Japan.
Walt Weiss would be a good one too.
Ooh, Walt Weiss would be a good one.
No, but this is. So I thought we had done this guy at some point. Maybe we have, and if we have, I apologize. But then I looked at his Baseball Reference page, and it's a shockingly small minor league career.
Oh, okay.
But there are other things that we will get into with this guy.
Michael Jordan.
Not Michael Jordan.
Sorry. Okay.
No.
I'll stop guessing.
No. All right. So this guy, this dude, as it were, was drafted in the second round by the Chicago Cubs in 1977. And I'm not going to say out of where yet. I'm not going to do that for the high school or the college because he was drafted later in the first round in 1980, 22nd overall. So that gives you guys an idea of the era. By the Montreal Expos.
Oh, okay.
1980, he goes to Double-A in the Montreal system with Memphis, the Memphis Chicks of the Southern League. Plays 60 games there, bats .300, .729 OPS, only one home run, not a lot of strikeouts, only 20 strikeouts and 224 plate appearances. So he shoots straight to Double-A, clearly an advanced player. 1981, and this is where it kind of gets interesting because this is an interesting Venn diagram player for us. 1981, goes back to Memphis with the Chicks in the Southern League, bats .348 there. Jeez. With a .783 OPS, gets promoted after only 41 games, or plays only 41 games for them. I don't have the game log in front of me, but played only 41 games for Memphis. Then goes to Denver of the American Association, the Denver Bears in 1981. You won't be surprised to hear that his slugging numbers went up a bit.
Coors.
Coors. Coors in 1981, clearly. Batted .352 with the Bears, only had a .377 OBP, so didn't walk very much, but had a .459 slugging percentage and an .836 OPS. He debuted that year with the Expos, played 34 games, batted .274, then played with the Expos in 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. 86, he goes to the Cubs organization, plays 17 games with the Iowa Cubs, and 86 with the regular Cubs, has a 608 OPS that year. Goes to the Reds the following year in 1987, 1988. Plays for the Colorado Springs Sky Sox in the Cleveland organization. Plays 68 games for them. Bats .323 there. Plays 62 games with the Indians, then the Indians in 1988. Bats .311 with them. So clearly a high average ball player. 1989 spends it with the Milwaukee Brewers, then in the American League. And then 1990 splits time between the Brewers and the Louisville Redbirds at the time, which was a AAA affiliate in the American Association of the Cardinals. Bats .263 with a 670 OPS. Does not play in baseball again after his age 31 season. Now, does not play in Major League Baseball or Minor League Baseball again, but goes into managing in 1992 with South Bend in the White Sox system. The South Bend White Sox goes 73-64 in his first season. And that is all I'm going to say about his managerial career, because it kind of gets obvious from there. So I want to see if you guys have any guesses.
I feel like I should.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I should too. And my only thought of like guy who went into managing young around that era, it's not correct because
just say some names. There's there's obviously wrong answers. It's like what Mike Abramson was saying before. There are wrong answers at this stage.
That might have been my favorite line of that interview, by the way.
Yeah.
There are no bad ideas until we start throwing the ideas out, and then you realize there are a lot of bad ideas.
80s. I'm sure I had this guy's baseball cards. It's a familiar name.
That was like that Tim Raines era of the Expos too.
Raines, Tim Wallach,
Jumps
Terry
into
Carter, Andre Dawson,
the White Sox system as a manager.
I will say this: he played he got 1,731 at bats in the major leagues. Had a -3 WAR.
Wow.
Yeah. Tough to do.
Defensive stalwart. Is he still managing today?
He is.
Really?
He is.
Huh.
Former Expo. Oh, this is going to drive me nuts.
Francona.
It is Francona.
It is
Wow, Terry Francona.
Terry Francona.
Wow.
And the thing I didn't want to say is
that was good. Good job, Ben.
After 1 year at South Bend, he went to Birmingham.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
So when you were like Michael Jordan, I was like,
yeah, I was like, yeah, I should have made that connection. White Sox system, early 90s. Wow.
So
that was a good one.
So he played in Denver. He managed in Philadelphia. He managed in Boston, obviously. He covers a lot of us. And he's coming back to baseball this year to manage the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
I know, I don't think I saw him myself, but a few people saw him at the Arizona Fall League, just kind of scouting out. Matt McLean was there, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Edwin Arroyo. Reds had a pretty deep AFL group, and he was getting his hands right in the dirt very quickly. So I think Tito, as we all know him, Tito being his father, but that's what a lot of people call him across major leagues, very clearly involved with the Reds right now. And I think that's going to make that team very exciting. I mean, they're trying to build a competitor in the NL Central, which is fairly wide open right now.
Yeah.
So when you were like, is he managing? Yes, he is, because he's hired. He just hasn't managed for this team yet and hasn't managed officially since 2023. But there you go.
Yeah, his name, he actually flitted through my brain maybe a minute or two before I said it. But I just remembered him like through my childhood baseball card memories with the Reds, and I was like, nah, Terry Francona didn't play that many years with the Expos. I mean, clearly he did,
I wouldn't have guessed that.
But I just went in a different direction at first after his name filtered through, because I did not think it was him. I have a real soft spot for Terry Francona's first major league managerial experience with the Phillies. They weren't really good teams, but I was a teenager. I had a driver's license, and I sat in an upper veteran stadium, or an empty upper deck at the Vet, and just saw some great games with, Scott Rowland and Rico Brogna and Desi Relaford, and I could go on and on, but we've we've had enough tangents.
Yeah.
Can you use tangent as a verb? We've tangented enough.
Well, the other things I'll throw out there that I held back on saying was he went to New Brighton High School. That's where he was drafted out of in 1977 in Pennsylvania. So I didn't know if that would have tipped him off for you, Ben. And he went to the University of Arizona, clearly well thought of there, 22nd overall. And a big reason why he was able to move so quick is because he was so advanced coming out of college. So I don't know if Arizona would have tipped anything off yet, but that was a thing to revisit as well. Hopefully you at home were yelling Terry Francona into your devices, or, maybe you guys had it a little bit quicker, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you learned something about Terry Francona today. But
it's also kind of crazy to think about how young he was when he was managing Michael Jordan in Birmingham. Like, MJ would have been around almost the same age, I would think. And Terry Francona is like just getting into being let's see what the birth date comparison is. Okay, so Michael Jordan, of course, February 17th, 1963. Terry Francona, born in 1959. Yeah. So 4 years older. And those guys, trying to deal with all that stuff at what was Michael Jordan, 31 at that point? So they're both, it's not as though they're like dudes who have done this before in the baseball realm. That's pretty crazy stuff.
And they, by all accounts, are still friendly to this day. And
very cool.
I think MJ still responds to Terry Francona's texts I don't think he does it often, but does it enough. But I'm sure that may have helped too, honestly. If you get him with an old grizzled vet who's going to be like, this is how you play the game. This is what you need. He knows how professional sports work. You're not going to surprise him with anything. He understands when it's working and when it's not working. Having somebody who understands that as well and can kind of take him by the hand and just be a friend.
Yeah.
In that instead of a hard time manager may have helped. I mean, who knows? It didn't work out for Michael Jordan. He didn't make the major leagues, but still
he's doing fine.
Yeah. Right. It worked. It's crazy how it was Terry Francona. I keep coming back to that.
That is pretty amazing.
Not just some guy who would still be making his mark somewhere.
Right.
Off Michael Jordan's manager for one season. Yeah. This is a guy who's probably going to end up being a Hall of Famer.
Pretty amazing. Very cool stuff. Well, that will do it for this week's episode of the Show Before the Show. Again, a big thanks to Mike Abramson and to Josh Jackson for stopping by, of course, as well. And for all of us at MLB Pipeline, for Sam Dykstra, for Benjamin Hill, my name is Tyler Maughan, and we will catch you next week.
This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. Flowers die in 3 days. Matching underwear for MeUndies? That's a gift that lasts. MeUndies creates matching prints for couples and friends. Same adorable designs and different cuts for each of you. All made from their signature ultramodel fabric that feels impossibly soft. With 30 million pairs sold and 90,000 5-star reviews, MeUndies matching prints are the perfect gift. This Valentine's Day, get exclusive deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/Spotify. Code Spotify.